All right, guys. So, welcome to Say Word Wednesdays Couch Conversations. I am your host, Artistic Genius. This is our very first couch conversation episode, episode 1. I'm here with my lovely guest, Substance.
Hey, y'all.
I'll let her introduce herself just a little bit.
I'm Substance, Cleveland born and raised. I'm a writer, poet, videographer, photographer. You need it. I got it. Let's do it. Yeah, I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Of course. I wouldn't want it any other way. So, what's so crazy is I saw you perform for the first time in Cleveland. I don't know the name of the club. Was it a comedy club?
Was it at Dunlap's?
Dunlap's.
I was trying to figure out where you were.
And I was like, yeah, she one of them.
Oh,
so I really loved your artistry from that point on. And I was like, whenever I start my shows, gotta have her there. I think I don't know if we talked about that, but I wrote your name. I wrote it in. I said, Substance is gonna be one of the features.
That's so sweet. Thank you so much. I saw you on the internet first. So
really?
I was kind of fangirling a little bit. Yes, I saw your poems on the internet. Okay. The net on Instagram.
Okay, well that's
it was
good.
Crazy to put a face to the poet online.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Absolutely. You know? I'm so happy to be here.
Listen, this is my first time being on this side of the Okay. I have never interviewed anybody before, so it feels good to, kind of take a seat back and get to know artists in their realm. Yeah. So yeah, I'm excited about it.
That's lovely.
Yeah. So let's get into these questions. I got some questions to ask you. Yeah, I should have got me a little sip, but I'm a lightweight, so I get a little too buzzed, All right. So the first question I wanted to ask you is you already told people who you are, but when you're in your artistry, what do you tell people you actually do? If I just came up to you and said, what do you do? Would you just list off all of the things that because it's hard for me as well. Yeah. So it's
when you do
multifaceted.
It's hard to pinpoint. I used to have a little saying, predominantly poet, chosen to be FemC, anything else you might see me. I don't know.
Okay.
But I think at this point, I just tell people I'm creative. I create for my art, my health. Yeah. So I'm just practicing creativity in everything that I do. But I do highlight that I'm a writer because that's where I have my training. Of course. That's where I've been the most intentional and where people know me the most.
Okay. Yeah. Love that. Yeah. So, okay, my next question is, so how long you been doing poetry and when did it come about?
Poetry is my lifeline. I was born into it. I say I started at 12. My mom will tell you different. It's always been there. Yeah. I come from a family of writers, so it's kind of always been in the background. But I started being intentional about being a poet and developing my craft and my skill 12, 13 years old. I went to Cleveland School of the Arts, so I went there for writing. I started off in band.
That's fire.
Fun fact, I played saxophone for a while. But I knew poetry was what I wanted to be doing. Writing was what I wanted to be doing. And 13, 9th grade.
So you were born to be an artist, period.
Yeah, I didn't have a choice. It's in me.
And she's a Leo, y'all.
I am.
Can you just see it? Listen, Leos always are multifaceted, creative, fashionistas. Yes. It's just a part of us.
How you show yourself. If we are so big about showing ourselves and presenting ourselves, I feel like we are intentional about how that's coming up in everything that we do. Every time you see me, I'm a package deal. You seeing everything that I've been through, everything that I am, everything that I'm doing. I just think we're intentional about showing up.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that for real, because I feel like even knowing this about you, I had no idea, because we've had conversations, but laughs here and there, but nothing as deep as knowing where you started at. Yeah. And we started around the same age writing.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. This brings me to my next question, since we're talking about your younger self. If you could write a poem to your younger self, what would you title it?
Ooh, that is a great question. I feel like I'm in this phase right now where I am embracing specifically my 5th grade self. And I would tell my 5th grade self at this moment, what did I tell her? I think the poem would be called Girl, It's Gonna Be Okay.
Okay.
Girl, It's Gonna Be Okay. Because I was an anxious child. I'm anxious now, but everything works out. It always does. For my whole life, it works out. So I would tell her everything is gonna be okay, because that's what she was worried about most.
Come on. Walk your mom over here. Okay, that's dope. Who are some poets or artists that have inspired you?
I'm a big hip hop head. My dad used to beatbox, so like it's been hip hop. So I'm influenced by people like Mick Jenkins. I'm a huge Smino fan. I believe that man has the pen of God uses Smino's pen. I'm convinced.
Yeah. He fire.
Yeah, it's crazy. But also like Jill Scott, I really love free verse poetry. I like the idea of going with energy.
Yeah.
Just I don't know, being in the moment, saying what you feel. Most Def. Who else?
Can't leave
My
him
mom.
out. Yeah.
Also the Bible.
Yeah.
I grew up Christian and I really do have a love and respect for the ways like the different versions of the Bible just can put things into words. I think it's a beautiful text. I really do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So everything you've inspired by a lot, and
it's like look around.
Yeah, and it's like it's hard for artists not to be inspired by so much. If you just look around you, like inspiration is really everywhere.
It's everywhere, especially if you allow it to be. And I think one thing that artists do a good job of doing is like taking advantage of that. I feel like that's an opportunity to see inspiration when you look around. Is like it's a privilege and it's an opportunity for you to be able to be like, that's what's going on, but here is how I can use that. Here is how I can see that, change that, alter that, and bring forth something else. Yeah, I try to stay inspired. It's better that way.
Yeah, well, I'm proud of you. Look, I'm proud of you.
Oh, thank you.
What does your writing process look like?
I wish I knew. I really wish I knew. And I think it differs depending on what I'm working on. With poetry, I do a lot of like free writing. It's mostly me getting the ugliest thoughts out of my head so that I can make something beautiful. But I spend so much time fretting about making the best piece that I just write so much. Like I'm writing constantly. And then eventually it just clicks one day. I feel like that's always how it is with poetry. One day it just makes sense.
Yeah.
I have been in the studio working on some
studio.
I'm writing. My process looks similar, but I'm not like physically writing. I have to do a lot of verbalization, which I'm not used to. Like that's new territory for me, but it's a lot of getting the gunk out so I can get to the pretty stuff. Yeah. I
just see like we have so many similarities.
Like it's gonna happen.
And I don't know if it's just the zodiac sign or just like, you know, how creativity just like thrives in us. Like our writing process is very similar. Like our stories are very similar. So I'm super happy that we did this. So the next question I have for you, Miss Substance, is how do you want your art and poetry to be perceived by people? Do you want it to be perceived by people?
I think I do. I feel like part of my artistic intention is knowing that I was supposed to do this. Like it feels very much like art was chosen for me. And it was chosen for me to use it with intention. So I do want my work to be perceived. And I'm also in a phase of learning to not care so much about other people's perception. So it's hard to figure out how I want to be perceived. But I think as long as people are like, this is real, this is authentic, this is genuine, I'm cool. Because I feel like that's all we can give in a moment. Like I can do all I can to make people perceive things a certain way, but at the end of the day, was it me?
Yeah.
As long as it was me, I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah, people gonna take what they want anyway from it. Yeah. So it's all about impact.
Absolutely.
Would you say it's about
Absolutely. And being for real. I just feel like in general, like just be for real. As long as you're being for real, we can work something out.
Absolutely.
We can see something.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Okay. What are some of your poetry goals? Like how far do you see yourself taking it? Being as though you're multifaceted, I know sometimes it can be very hard to hone in on which gift to give the most focus to. I know I've struggled with that for years. So like, is poetry something that you want to expand on like a bigger level, like being featured like all over the world? You know, how would you see that?
I think I don't know.
Okay.
Partially because like growing up, once people found out I wanted to be a writer and a poet, they was like, all right, well, you're gonna do that. I guess you'll be happy. And it's like people don't see goals for that. Like people don't see it as a way of living or a means to do anything. I would like my poetry to help me travel. I really would like to travel, and I feel like this feels like a door opened in that direction. This is the furthest I've been so far for poetry.
Amen. Sometimes you gotta stop somewhere.
Right?
Start somewhere.
I'm like, I'm not at home. So and I was requested to be here, like somebody asked me to be here. So If my poetry can let me travel just so I can continue to speak and continue to show up in different spaces and be for real,
Yeah.
I would love that. I also really want to publish something. I don't know if I want it to be a big deal, but like for myself,
it's gonna be a big deal.
For myself, I just want something in ink. Like I want something.
If you ever need help with it, I know a little something.
Thank goodness.
I can lead you in the right direction. But yeah, that's my hope always for Say Word or anything that I do. Like one of my goals with starting Say Word was to make sure that like poets who I felt were phenomenal, dope, but just did not have the platform, have never been featured before. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You might get on Instagram and see the same poets featured, and that's great for them. Like, but it's like the ones that are the underdogs, the ones that are, you know, forgotten by people. And it's like, it doesn't make your talent any less. It's just like, you just need that opportunity. So that's something that I will always continue to do, is just like create that avenue, and hopefully and prayerfully, like this will lead to more opportunities for you. I believe it will.
I do. It already has. Yeah. Honestly, if I'm just being so for real. Yeah. I've been getting a lot of like messages about me taking advantage of an opportunity leading to doors that I've been asking to be open for me. And everything about getting here has been aligned. Everything about literally, I didn't have to worry about nothing to get here. Like nothing. Everybody was just like, what do we got to do? What do we have to do to get? So I do believe that it already has. It feels like it already has. I feel different. I've been telling everybody I'm headlining a show. So like, that make you feel different. So I think that it is already in effect. If not in physical things, it's in my energy. I feel different. I feel like I'm deserving of being in more spaces.
Absolutely,
like,
you are. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Come on, affirmation. As you should feel that way.
For real.
Yeah.
As poets deserve.
Yes. So I mean, no artist has not had any. I mean, all artists have had obstacles like along their journey. So I want to know like about some obstacles that stuck out to you the most along your journey that kind of made you feel like, man, I'm done with this. Like I'm not, you know, because it feels like that sometimes when you feel sometimes undervalued or underappreciated. Like it's like, should I be doing this? And you question yourself a little bit. So like, what is something that you had to overcome?
Funny, because I'm literally wrapping up the end of that phase where I'm like, oh right, I'm supposed to be here. I'm doing this on purpose. I think one, being multifaceted can be very discouraging because I'm like, what do I focus on? What do I do? Where do I go from here? And I have like, it's always been poetry for me. Like I will always come back to her. That's my girl. Yeah. But also when I went away to school, I lost my poetry community. Again, I went to Cleveland School of the Arts. I went there for poetry. I went there for writing. So I was every day in a setting where it was a challenge for me. It was the goal for me to be active in writing and to be developing my craft. There was also community for me. So when I left high school, I kind of was like lost in the sauce because I'm like, my people not here. Ain't nobody telling me I got to produce a poem a day. Like there's nothing holding me accountable to my art. And I struggled with that the whole time I was in college, and I went for 5 years.
Listen, you gotta go talk to me. Listen, my story is the same as well. But the point is that you did it, and even if you did not finish, it's like that means that God put you on a different path, like for that time being, and maybe you'll go back, maybe you won't. But that's that's something that you're supposed to be like align with. It's like I try not to get caught up in things to where it's like it didn't work out. It's like it didn't work out at that moment for a reason. So
it's always on purpose. Everything is on purpose. I always say I am the most grateful for the people that I met while I was at college. My long-term friends, like locked in, they completely changed my life. Yeah. So even if I didn't finish, it would have been them for sure that always made it worth it. But it's always on purpose. It's always working out for us every time.
For sure.
Every time.
Yeah, I believe that.
Because, like, what else are we doing?
Listen, and at that point, it's just like you don't have any control over the process anyway. Exactly. I mean, you can control what you can control. But, like, as far as, like, where you're going to go, like, listen, it don't got nothing to do with us.
It's so much easier to surrender. Yeah. I also feel like I'm wrapping up that phase in my life. Again, I was, like, a very worrisome child. Like, I was constantly anxious. I constantly wanted to show up correctly. I wanted to make the right decisions. I wanted to make sure I was doing what I was supposed to. And I'm like, there's so many things I can just release in order to experience peace in a day, in order to experience joy. It's all working out anyway. It's going to do what it's going to do anyway. Why not allow it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
this
good.
is
That's
new
good
phase for
stuff.
me,
Hold
so
on.
don't quote me.
Listen, quote. But this is good stuff, though. So I have one more question,
Okay.
and that question is: if you could say a word to an aspiring poet, or give some advice, what would that be?
Another really great question. Absolutely don't stop.
Mm-hmm.
Do it for yourself. And take time to journal too.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Aside from, intentionally working on pieces, take time to write for yourself. You have to. It'll make your work better too.
Okay. Yeah. Well, listen. Substance, y'all.
I'm in my yapping era.
Yeah, and we love that. We love some good yapping, okay? I'm so happy we got to do this interview. I'm so happy and excited about the show tonight. I know you're going to kill it. Like, I just know it, you know? So I'm very proud of you and, like, where you came from and, like, your artistry overall. So definitely want to make sure you guys follow us on Instagram at Say Word Wednesdays. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Say Word Wednesdays, and stay in touch for the next episodes. We'll be doing episode 2, but it's a surprise who I'm gonna have. Follow Substance on social media. You want to shout your social media out? Only Substantial at everything. Only Substantial. It's spelled correctly. No periods. No underscore. Only Substantial. Like, that's it. Yeah. So make sure y'all keep in contact with her. See what she has going on, and we will see you next time on Couch Conversations. Say word.